In today's video, we're going to be drilling out dog holes for the workbench in a CNC accuracy pattern with this tool right here, the UJK Parf Guide Mark II system. These holes are 20 millimeter dog holes. They're 96 millimeters apart on center, with the exception of the offset row of dog holes here on the side and dog holes here on the top. Those offset is for a certain thing that I'm going to be probably working on later on. That'll be a completely separate video. You don't have to do that. So if you want to just follow along with your regular part of the dog holes here in the regular pattern, 96 millimeters on center, then this whole video is going to give you lowdown on this tool right here, how to use it and how accurate it is. Okay guys, really quick before I forget, before we go any further, today is Friday, February 17th, 2023. TSO has informed me that on their website, the entire site, everything is going to be for President's Week. It's going to be 10% off and free shipping on all orders $49 or more in the lower 48 states of the US only. So you have today, the 17th, Friday, Saturday, tomorrow, the 18th, Sunday, the 19th, and all day Monday, which is going to be the start of President's Week or President's Day, Monday, February 20th. So I'm going to provide you with the TSO affiliate link on the bottom in the description box. Just hit that link, it'll take you to the site, and anything that you need to purchase on there through that link, you will get that 10% from that sale. You're not going to pay any more, but they will share a small portion of the profits with me, which helps to support the channel and what we're doing here. All right, now let's get started on drilling these dog holes out. Okay, so I have here the system in front of me, and what we're going to do is we're going to drill out all these dog holes in a centered pattern here in a pretty much a rectangular shape, right from the center, working our way out. I've already marked the center of the bench here, which is 865 millimeters. I know that I have 100 millimeters of framing wrapping around the bottom, and I don't want to drill through both of those parts because I explained in the other video when I was making this top that the clamps, such as these festool clamps, the maximum for those is usually between 7/8 and about 1 inch thick. And if you have anything thicker than that, then you would have to route out a channel on the bottom to allow that to pass through and be able to get the clamp in there to use it and actually have it function the right way. So let's get a little bit closer here. I'm going to show you all the parts that this system comes with, and then we're going to just start drilling this out. So you have a 20 millimeter, this is kind of like a Forstner bit, but it has a flat bottom and it has this pointed center right there, and that's going to be important later on when I show you where it's going to locate the area we drill out with the 3 millimeter drill bit that's also supplied. This has a stop collar. I'll show you how that goes through the Parf Guide system, and this prevents it from falling out. Comes with the Allen key to tighten that up. It comes with 3 of these locator pins. These pins are important because they get hooked up into the holes and down into the workbench, and they have these little parts at the bottom right there. It's like a little flat surface that actually is thicker than the pin itself, and that locates itself right into what they call the Parf stick, and that is how it sits and flattens itself out. And actually, because of that, there's no play in this whatsoever, so it won't be moving side to side on you. You get 2 of these drill guides. Now, what's the difference between the drill guides? Well, number 1, the bottom has a locator in it on this one that's longer than this side. This is the main one, the short one's the main one you're going to be using to drill out the holes while you're only drilling through the one Parf stick while it's on the table. If you have to drill through the 2 of them at one time at a certain point, that's when you switch to the one that has the longer locating shaft, because that longer shaft will go through both of these Parf sticks like that, lock them together so that they can't move as you drill down into the work surface. Okay, it has this little connector right here. This goes through both of the sticks when they are hooked up at a access point. I'll show you how that works. We're going to be using that, and that's going to make sure everything is on a 90 degree and 45 degree complete perfect angle to each other. These are the Parf sticks right here. These are completely identical, and they have the markings of 32 and 48 millimeters for the 32 millimeter system. This is the Parf guide system here. It has some guide bushings, I guess you can call them. It also has holes for these Parf dogs, which are going to help you also later on locate this into some pre-drilled holes in the bench, because that's going to be important, because you're not going to be able to drill all the holes out in one shot. You're going to have to skip holes. There's a system. I'm going to show you the whole thing. Okay, so you get 2 of those, which can be also used later. The bottom's 20 millimeters, so once we get this thing all drilled out, you now have 2 20 millimeter low profile bench dogs, which is pretty cool. So this is what I'm real excited about right here, because I've seen people using this in the past. Now this is the Mark II. This is the UJK Parf Guide System Mark II. The first one they came out with didn't have any kind of a vacuum attachment, and everybody that was drilling out, all the chips and dust extracted, went all over the place. They had to separately hook up a vacuum somehow. This right here hooks up to the standard, the 27 millimeter Festool fits right in there, so I'm going to be using that. But if you have a regular shop vac, you can use that. Just have an adapter that will allow you to either get into it or over the top of it. And then as you drill with the provided Forstner bit, it's going to suck out all the chips and extract them through there, so you don't get a mess on the bottom of the bench as you're cutting these holes. These little mint containers, they store parts that are small like this, really good. Just put a piece of tape on it, write down what it is, throw them in there. This way you don't lose it. Comes with a really good set of instructions, so you can look these over also if you choose to purchase this system. But I'm going to give you some really good, easy, detailed instructions right now. So you can look it over, but you may not need it after this video. How does this work? So you got your Parf sticks. They have the pre-drilled holes, and they are perfectly machined so that they are 96 millimeters on center, just like the Festool MFT table. And we're going to use that to our advantage because we are working on that system. So we have holes that are, the ones that are 96 millimeters on center are labeled 0 through 10. And so what I did was I marked where I'm going to be working outwards, this way here. Okay, I marked up 135 millimeters to make sure that I clear that 100 millimeter brace that I have around the whole perimeter. And then I marked 865 because my workbench was 1730 millimeters long. 865 was the exact center. So now that I have that little mark there, we're going to position the number 5 hole, which is the exact center of the Parf stick, right over that cross that I made. The way this system works and the way you get perfect 90 and 45 dog holes all the way around with CNC accuracy is by using the Pythagorean theory system. Now, if you're familiar with that system, then basically this is just a little refresher for you. If you're not familiar with that system, it's the theory of the right triangle. So you have 90 degrees in a corner here. If you have a triangle going 3 this way, 4 this way, and then the intersecting points at the corners here on this angle here would be 5. So it would be a 3, 4, 5 system. Also, the same is if it was 6, 8, and 10. So if you had 6 inches, 8 inches, this would be 10 inches. So that's the system we're going to use. Now, we're going to go with the 6, 8, 10 rule because that's how we're going to count out the holes later on when we hook this up. So for right now, all you need is either 2 or 3 of these pins. You're probably not going to need 3 of the pins. You need the drill guide with the 3 millimeter bit that's provided that has a shaft on it already, which slides perfectly into that guide and helps you to drill it out perfectly straight 90 degrees down to the table. And you need your 2 Parf sticks, and you need to provide your own drill. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chuck this up into the drill. That's ready to go. I'm going to move this off to the side here for 1 second, and I have my Parf stick where I need it. Now they want you to clamp this down, but before I do that, I want to take a measurement and make sure that I have it the exact distance on both sides there, and then I'm going to put some clamps to hold it in place just until I can drill the holes and put the locator pins in there. Okay, so I tried to raise the camera and give you the best angle that I possibly can. I have the number 5 hole set right over my crosshairs. So that's where I want it. I'm going to use a combination square, and I'm going to set that right to the edge, and I'm just going to make it touch the combination square. They want you to clamp it in place, but I don't have deep reach clamps to get there. So what I'm going to do is just put this here, and I'm going to make sure that I get that right where it's supposed to be. Come to this end here, I'm going to check that, and that's perfect right there. I'm going to take a heavy weight, and I'm going to position it right there where it's out of my way. The drill guide, I'm going to position that right into the hole, and I'm going to drill out that first hole. This is where the pins come into play. So you're going to take the pin. See, they're all the same, so any pin you take, this is made to fit super snug into that hole that you just drilled. It has that little flat spot. You have to make sure that that sits down in there. Okay, I have that in place. Now, come to the other end over here. This is not going to move. Take my drill guide, drill that out, and now take another pin down in there flush, and now you can see it's not going to move. I can move the weight. I just take the drill guide and continue every other hole that's 96 millimeters apart. Okay, this is where it gets interesting, and this is super simple. I have my other Parf stick right here, and what they want you to do is to take it and swing this Parf stick out this way. We're working on the 6, 8, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 right there. So we're going to get that in. Put a pin in right there. Make sure it sits down in there. And then what I'm going to do is take that little piece that I showed you before that opens up, and it has a little pin that drops in and then screws in at the top here. So we're going to take this here on the 8 mark, and there's the 10 mark there, and we have to make the 8 and the 10 cross. And I can drop this in from the top, make sure it's sitting perfectly in that position through both of the Parf sticks evenly. Now I take the bottom, I tighten that up. Now this isn't going to move here, and I'm going to start to drill out from here down this way. Take this Parf stick out right there, and we're going to start to work the same way off of this end perimeter right here. And now you only need one Parf stick for the next operation. And now we have a U-shaped perimeter here of the bench stroke holes where they're going to go. So, like I said, the hardest part was that triangulating everything. Now all you need to do is drill these out in rows. So how are we going to do that? We're just going to line up the 0 and the 10. We're going to drop a pin in each one, just like that. Make sure it's fully seated. And this is the absolute coolest part, because now all I have to do is continue to drill out this row, move it to the next row, drill that out until I get to my top. Okay, well, that was the last set of holes. So now we can just remove these pins Remove the Parf guide. I hope this is coming through on the camera. I hope it's not getting washed out too much by the LED overhead lights. But you can see I have a perfect pattern. I have a row of, I should say, of offset holes there and a row of offset holes here. If I wanted to, I could continue a little bit further, but I don't feel the need to go all the way to the end right now with these dog holes. Take the actual Parf guide system, and what I'm going to do is set this in on the first hole here, just like this. I'm going to put it in and put the collar over the top, but I'm not going to tighten up the collar yet because I'm going to set the collar at a depth that's just below the surface of the top sheet of plywood, which is right there. That should give me the least amount of blowout. And the collar is going to serve two purposes here. Number one, it's going to stop the drill bit at the depth that I want. And the second thing is it's going to stop the drill bit from falling out of the Parf guide. And the way this is going to work is you're going to use the locator pins with this. We'll start on the first row, and what I'll do is use the point of the drill bit right there, that Forstner bit. That's going to sit right down in there, just like that. And then these pins, they're gonna line up with the hole, just like that. Really, really snug. And you can see how perfect that is. Everything lines up. Look, this is ready to go. I could drill that hole out if I want right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the bottom, work my way across, and do it systematically. I'm going to go with the second, fourth, sixth hole, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to drill out the first row, and I'm going to use the locator pins, and we're going to skip every other hole. And just the way it is by design, that's how you have to do it when you have it in the first collar or guide bushing, when the drill bit's in there. So you go through the first hole, skipping every other hole, then you go up to the second row, you do the same. You can go in a vertical pattern, you can start going upwards 90 degrees, but you want to use the locator pins in those pre-drilled holes while you're drilling out the 20 millimeter holes. You want to do as much as that as you can until you can't use the locator pins anymore. And at that point, you'll switch over to the 20 millimeter the Parf guide dog locators, and what they'll do is allow you to drill out those remaining holes in between the ones that you've already just drilled out. Now, in total, if I wasn't explaining anything in this video, and obviously you're not going to get a real good judgment of how fast I went here because of speeding up the footage, but this took me just about 35 minutes to do the whole entire dog hole pattern on this bench, which I thought was actually pretty fast considering that you're using the drill manually. So yes, if you had a CNC, obviously you could do it fast, but you could also spend $15,000 on the CNC to do it. Okay, so now I've drilled out all the holes that I possibly could from the standpoint of using the pins. So now we're going to still keep the pins handy. I'm going to move the Forstner bit over to the other bushing. As we drill out here, we want to drill this out. We want to be able to position it like this and drop our Parf dogs in there. Now you see how that's not moving? Now I'm able to drill this out. Then I can simply move it over to the next undrilled hole. Drop in the locator dogs, and this will get every other hole that we missed drilling out before by using the pins. Now if you follow this style of pattern, just going row by row, and then you can go upwards in a vertical position to do the remaining ones. I also kept those locator pins handy because there were some spots where I was able to use those instead of the Parf locator dog. So just keep that in mind as you go through this whole system. And always make sure you refer to the instruction manual too if you get lost a little bit during this video. Now as I start to move the drill and the Parf guide around, moving it from side to side, and you can see I'm exposing more of the dog holes, you can start to see the pattern start to come together. And now you can see the offset row of holes. Those are going to be for maybe a certain kind of a cross-cut station or something like that with the Parf system later on. I'm not too sure right now, but I did it just in case. Okay, so all the dog holes are drilled out in the pattern that I wanted. It looks great, came out great, it was easy to do. Now I'm just going to use simple chamfering bit, and I'm going to go around with the palm router, and I'm going to chamfer the top edges of all these holes. Well guys, this system really works very well, and this turned out great. Brushing off a little bit of dust that's left over from the router, chamfering the edges, and we'll check it for square, even though I can tell you right now everything looks bang on. What I really love about it is that they give you these 20mm low profile doors. So I drilled an extra offset row of holes up top and on the side over here, and so I'm gonna just drop one of those dogs in over here, drop one in over there. Actually, let's drop one here and here. And let's make a nice right angle. Now let's get a really known good square and check this. Okay guys, so this is the most accurate, biggest square that I have. So I put two of these are like bench stops. These are part of that clamping system, and these are the bench dogs. So let's see what we got here. So now, butting it up against there, let's simulate if this was off by even just a tiny bit in the corner here. Let's say it was off right there. So what would happen would be we would get this rocking action, right? So I'm simulating that it's not touching there. So now I'm just going to move that out of the way. We bring everything in, and now you can see I'm trying to rock this back and forth using my whole body weight, and that's not moving. But the true test is, do we do it in another spot and have that same accuracy? Well, let's find out. Let's bring it over here. Let's take the dogs, we'll bring it this way. Bring that out over there. Flip the square around. Bring it up against there. Hit those dogs. Look at that. There is no movement side to side whatsoever. All right, now, can we check it this way? Let's take it here, bring it there, over here, one down there. There's no rocking, so we're completely 90 degrees everywhere. Hey guys, so I set up a simple pattern right here. I got the two bench stops here, the two dogs there. I have something better than an actual speed square. This is a drafting triangle, much more accurate. Architects use it, artists use it. It's dead on 90, dead on 45. So what I'm going to do is just butt this up against the dogs here like this, and I'm going to drop it right into this 45 angle here. And that is perfectly tight in there with no movement whatsoever. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Everything's dead on. Well guys, I gotta say, this turned out great, and there are a lot of things that I have planned for using this assembly table. One of those things is going to be a lot of clamping. See here with the Festool quick clamps. It also works with the micro jig clamps if you have those. But the same principles as the MFT, locks it into place. I can do whatever I need to do. Get it out quick, unlock it, get it out of the way, and move on. This is not a one-trick pony for me. This right here, I'm going to actually be using this a lot. I talked about in the future building a workbench that's going to take it to the job sites with me. I'm going to use this again to make the dog holes in that. Also going to be using it to replace the tops on the MFT3. One of the tops I already cut to help. The thing has a million cut marks in it, diagonally, sideways, from front to back, every which way, and I'm afraid that because of all those cuts, it's going to wind up sagging a little bit, which happens over time. You can flip these over. I don't know if you guys knew that. There are 4 screws holding it in. So once you damage it on one side and then it's beyond repair, you could flip it over and you can use the other side. But then it's time for a new one. And instead of buying one from Festool, I can cut a piece of MDF that I can buy in Home Depot for dirt cheap, and I can use this to drill out the whole pattern and have a brand new MFT top. So this thing is, it's good for a lot of stuff. Also, if you're looking to make a cut station, The instructions provide you with all different things that you can do with this. There are all different kinds of tall Parf duals. These are the low profile that come with that, which I'm very happy about because I'm going to need some 20 millimeter extra bench doors, and TSO has a lot of them. So I'm going to be looking into their website for a lot of stuff. So stay tuned for all that. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys decide that if you are going to purchase it. Another thing that I just was told from TSO is they are the only authorized dealer of UJK tools in the US. So if you are looking to get this, you're going to have to get through them anyway. All right, so don't go buying some knockoff Parf guide system. If you do get it, definitely make sure that you get the Mark II system, because the Mark II system has the vacuum attachment. All right, guys, so once again, thank you for joining me. Thank you to TSO for providing me with this Parf guide system. I really am going to get a lot of good use out of this. Stay tuned, guys. I have a lot to do. Like I said, I bought the plans for Ron Paulk's workbench, and that is because I feel that you shouldn't be making a workbench that someone spent 10 years designing and perfecting and selling plans for, and if you don't buy them, then you're kind of a jerk. You know what I mean? Anybody can go out and make the bench to any of the dimensions they want to make, but you know, you should be supporting these people that go out and take the time to do these things and share them with you. So, I mean, $10 for plans, you really can't go wrong. All right, guys, so stay tuned for that. We got a lot more to do. I have a bunch of stuff to do in the shop. I have other tools that I wanted to go over. I wanted to compare the vacuums, the Cyclone with the regular shop vac, the dust stopper, and also the Festool system. I wanted to compare that with the CT Cyclone on the CT26 Festool dust extractor. So stay tuned for that. I got a lot of that coming. We have a lot more builds to go. I also have a couple of videos on tools and techniques that I want to incorporate in there. A lot of you ask me questions, email me, or comment on things like, you know, how do you do this? What depth setting did you use on the track saw for this? I want to go over stuff like that. So I want to be doing a lot of those like how-to videos incorporated into this channel, and I hope you guys enjoy that. All right, so make sure you stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, hit the picture of notification bell. That's going to notify you every time I upload a new video, and that's going to be very soon. So thank you guys for joining me in the shop today, and when you do join me out in the field, we're going to be doing a lot more of that as well. All right, guys, I will see you next time.